Hi, on the Woodpecker today, I'm going to show you the modifications I made to the electrical panel at my cottage. I was fed up watching others working on my future workshop, so I went to my cottage for a few days. I'm taking this opportunity to modify the electrical panel I made. But at the cottage, I had 3 surprises waiting for me. The first one, my chimney was down on the ground. This must have happened mid or late March because at the beginning of March, it was still standing up. I had to make do with this lame repair. My second surprise, maybe you remember my water barrels? Now they're missing. I can't figure out why someone would go to all this trouble to steal 2 $15 plastic barrels. My last surprise was that a small animal which lived under my cottage ate the bark of more than 2 dozen of the trees surrounding my cottage. Some were chewed just a little bit, and others have no bark left. But my goal was to go to the cottage to modify my electrical system. Here's how it works. My electricity is collected by 2 solar panels, one of 95 watts and another of 190 watts. I also have a windmill, which I'll remove because it causes me problems. I don't advise anyone to install a small windmill of this type. This being said, I'm far from being an expert on the subject. As you can see here, my battery exploded last winter. This is the main reason why I need to modify my system. I found pieces of the battery all around my shed. At least, nobody got injured when it happened. The first thing I do is to repair my actual panel and add those 2 commercial solar panel controllers. I'm also changing the configuration of my relay, so my new controller will take charge of the battery charging. Here's the new charging controller. I also bought a battery monitor module. The first thing I must do with it is to set my battery power to 220 ampere hour. This is the new installation of both modules, just beside the panel I had made years ago. After switching it on, I can actually see how much the battery is being charged. A little more than 3 amps. The value is pretty much the same as my own panel. All this energy is charging my new battery. I hope this one will last longer than the previous one. The new charging module is pretty simple to install. The battery is plugged into the first 2 terminals, the solar panel in the center ones, and the load in the last ones. That's it. It's ready to go. The battery goes through this shunt, which allows me to monitor my battery. This module gives the voltage of the battery, the charging current, the time left for the battery, and other information. My 110 volt is made with this 600 watts true sine wave inverter. This is way better than a modified sine wave inverter. I also made a small module to switch the source of my 110 volt. It can be generated from my inverter or from my generator. One or the other supplies the electricity to the cottage. I also install an hour counter on my generator. See, I just turn it off, and now the electricity comes from my inverter. I also changed my electrical panel display for a bigger one. I advise anyone who's interested in solar energy to buy a commercial unit so you won't end up with just half a battery. I hope this episode wasn't too boring, and I'll see you next time for another episode of The Woodpecker.